Welcome to Cheesy Dan Reviews. As always, I'm Cheesy Dan. On the plate for this episode, we have Domino's stuffed crust Parmesan cheese pizza. Now, if you look at the box here, it kind of looks like a bag of trash. I'm not quite sure what theme they were going for here.
You smell like hot garbage!
Let's just hope that the pizza doesn't reflect what the box looks like. In any case, Domino's has not been known for having a stuffed crust pizza before. In fact, this is a new offering from them. Historically, I've not really been a fan of Domino's. They've typically been one of my least favorite of the fast food to-go style pizzas. But maybe they've changed the recipe. Maybe things have gotten better.
I'm expecting great things.
I guess we're gonna have to find out. So stick with us while we give it its Cheesy Dan review and see if this cheese is worth your dough. To determine if this cheese is worth your dough, we're going to judge it based on its appearance, its day one taste, its value. Take a slice and stick it in the fridge, come back on day 3 for the reheat. We'll take all 4 scores, add them together, divide them by 4, and then we'll know the cheesy score. Let's open up the box and see what we got. Well, overall, not a bad looking pizza. You know, there is a little bit of spots here and there where you can see some of the sauce poking through, but overall, pretty good cheese coverage. The crust, you can see it's got a little bit of the fluffiness where you can feel that there's the cheese in there. Now, this one is specifically meant to come with a Parmesan and a garlic finish on the crust. Not really a fan of garlic, so I chose to forego that. But overall, not a bad looking pizza. When I originally ordered it and brought it into my vehicle, I could say the initial smell wasn't the greatest. It almost kind of had like a feet smell.
Ew.
If you've ever smelled like mozzarella cheese that's been sitting around too long, kind of has that smell. So not the first most appetizing smell to smell when you pick up a new pizza. But overall, I'm going to put this one an initial appearance of a 6.5. Not a bad looking pizza, but we're just going to have to go from there. Now, as far as value, I want to address that before I get into the tasting portion. I went and looked at some pricing. This one, as a Domino's stuffed crust, it only comes in a medium.
Huh?
And as a medium, it comes in at $16.99 with no additional toppings added to it. Now, they did have a $3 off coupon on the website, which made it $13.99. However, Papa John's, yeah, sure, if you pay the retail price, it's $19.50 for a stuffed crust large. However, you can do their large one-topping carry-out special and change the crust to a stuffed crust. And that comes in at $13.99 as well. So the same exact price, but you're getting a large instead of a medium, and you get to choose a topping. Then when you look at Little Caesars, for instance, they have a large stuffed crust, no topping, for $11.49. So for $2.50 less, you can get a large no topping from Little Caesars.
Ouch.
Or for the same price, you can get a large with one topping from Papa John's. So
Ouch.
Even with the $3 off coupon, this is definitely an expensive pizza. I'm gonna say, as far as value goes, I'm gonna put this one kind of low on the list here. It's gonna come in at a 2 as far as value.
Yikes.
Because you're getting a smaller pizza with no toppings for less than what you could get a large for. So in that regards, that really does hurt its value part. But now we're gonna pick a slice. So of course, play the game of, which slice do you think I should pick? I think I'm gonna go for this one right here. Oh, there we go. So we got this one right here. Does look like it's been evenly cooked. So let's go ahead and give it its first taste and let's see what it tastes like. Historically, I have not been a fan of the sauce that Domino's offers. It's also always come off as like they were trying overly hard to make it spicy. I can still taste a little bit of that, but it's not as strong as I remember it being in the past. But since it is stuffed crust, let's give it a bite of the crust as well. The cheese in the crust is not as good as I've experienced with, say, like Papa John's. I do feel like their stuffed crust is better, even Little Caesars. it's a little bland, to be honest. And that's kind of been an issue with their cheese in the past. Like, for instance, if you look right in this section right here, you can kind of see some of the cheese, shredded cheese pieces they use. I don't know what kind of supplier they use that's a little different, but their mozzarella always tastes a little different than, say, some of the mozzarella cheeses from other pizza places. I'm gonna put this one probably right at a 4.5. It's not bad, but it's definitely not great. I would put it slightly below an average as far as what you should expect for the price. And of course, it kind of hurts that it's already pretty expensive for what it is. So we're gonna put this one at a 4.5. Now, one thing that I'm not rating it on, I do not rate pizzas on their experience. If I was going to rate this on experience, this one would not rate very well. And that's one reason I try not to put experience in, mainly because if you noticed, the door was actually locked to the pizza place. Now, this is midday, not in a sketch neighborhood or anything, and the door's locked and you have to be let in by another customer or by the employee there, and that's kind of a little weird. I've never seen that before in my town. Number two, the website. When you go to order off of this website, it feels like you're on some like late 90s, early 2000s website with a ton of pop-ups while you're trying to order. In fact, I think I counted 4 or 5 pop-ups from the moment I said I wanted to go to cart to the moment I could order. Multiple times it's asking me to enroll even though I've said no, and it keeps popping it up. And it just, I don't know, it just felt like I was dodging potholes trying to get to my order and just complete the order. So not great experience there. That's something they could definitely use an improvement on. But in any case, we don't grade it on experience, so I'm not gonna hold that against them. But we're gonna take one of these slices, we're gonna stick it in the fridge, we're gonna come back on day 3, we'll get its day 3 reheat score. So, see you shortly.
3 days later.
And we're back on day 3 with the Domino stuffed crust. So here we are, just got out of the fridge. Overall, looks just like it did on day 1, so preserved itself quite well. Last step we gotta do, let's heat it up. Now that it's heated up, let's go ahead and give it its taste so we can get to that cheesy score. All right, let's give it that taste. Pretty good. Let's go ahead and taste the crust as well. So I'd say on this one, it really didn't lose anything. It pretty much tastes just the way it did on day 1. So for the Domino's, I guess, I don't know how they made it different, but in any case, it really, I don't taste any loss of flavor in the cheese or in the sauce or in the crust or the stuffed crust section. So overall, it's still going to maintain its 4.5 score it got on day 1. Now, with this pizza, it did perform above my expectation, but it did also come in at a low score. This one ends up finishing with a cheesy score of 4.375. And that score is very low, but keep in mind, when I grade these, I'm grading in their value, their appearance, and unfortunately, this one is probably the worst value pizza I've actually gotten, and I described that on day 1, and that really hurts it. If they would make this more in the line of, say, a $9.99 medium stuffed crust, I think that would change this score drastically. So I would say this is a good pizza. I do think you would enjoy it, but at the same time, you've got to understand you're kind of overpaying for what you're getting, and you have better options with things like Little Caesars or Papa John's. So I can't quite give it my seal of approval. Maybe they'll lower the price and I can, but until then, I guess that's just where it's going to have to stay.
I'll try to do better next time.
But hey, if you've watched the video to this point, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe so you get notifications when new videos come out. Make sure to like it, comment. That really helps the algorithm. It helps others see it. And man, share this with people. If you've got friends that you think it might interest, you know, a lot of people tell me when they watch the videos, it makes them hungry and they want cheese pizza or they want pizza that Friday. I hope that does it for you too. But in any case, until we eat again, stay cheesy.